Thanks everybody for being here. If this is your first time, welcome to our Fireside Chat. This is HR's weekly touch point with campus. My name is Casey Park. I do a lot of the communication and employee engagement initiatives within HR. And we're here to make sure that you are up to speed on all things at Boise State. How's everybody doing today? It's Tuesday. We're already in the middle of February. Lots of smiles and thumbs up. Okay, I've got a couple HR updates for you guys to start us off. If you are a benefit eligible employee, you received an email that we've got some extensions on the FSA, which is the flex spending accounts for both medical and for dependents. If you did not receive that email, please give benefits@boisestate.edu a email, and our amazing benefits team will get you that communication again. And that benefit has been extended, so like that deadline, you can continue to sign up for the FSA. You do not have to wait till the deadline to do that. So please enroll away. And then we do have open enrollment coming up. So please be ready for that. We're going to be getting that to you the last week of April and the first week of May. Thank you, baby. And as I say every week, performance evaluations are due to HR for classified and professional employees March 1st. So be getting those in. We also will have two communications coming to supervisors and managers this week. One about CEC and the snapshot date, and another one reminding you the performance evaluations are due and all the things that you need to do to get them done. And then we'll be sending out an email to everyone because we got the cybersecurity dates. So cybersecurity is coming. And remember, if we do get CEC approved by the legislature, your performance evaluation and completion of cybersecurity are tied to those things. So be looking for those communications. They will be direct emails, but then I will also have them as update articles going out in the update and on the Boise State HR website. You scroll to the very bottom is our news section. They'll be the first ones up. Okay. So today, we don't just have me talking about all things HR, but if I went too fast or if you have follow-up questions, remember all your HR professionals are here to answer those questions for you. But today our guest speakers are our amazing folks in public safety. We have Tana Monroe, John Kaplan, and Rob Littrell here to talk about staying safe on campus and helping keep the campus safe. I'm going to go ahead and share. Nope, that's the wrong button. I like to try to share the presentation when I'm trying to share my screen. It's fun. It's Tuesday. There's more coffee that should be happening. Is everybody seeing the staying safe on campus? Yes? No? Okay, excellent. Okay, I'm going to turn the mic over to John Kaplan or Tana, whoever is leading off today.
Hey, thanks, Casey. I'll start off, and thanks for inviting us, and thanks to HR for being such great partners. I'm very pleased, we're very pleased to be here to talk a little bit about DPS and to give information from the Department of Public Safety. I think COVID has underscored some of the operational mandates and way we really work on campus here at DPS, but it goes without saying, it's obvious, COVID has presented some very new challenges for each and every one of us. And I think it's important to note it's different for all of us as well. So for those of you that are still working on campus, it's a very different experience for those of us that are working remotely. For example, and again, we all know this, some have become moms and dads and teachers all at the same time, where those that are frontline workers that have to be on campus are naturally concerned about the virus transmission and about bringing that home. So it's all kinds of stress for all kinds of reasons for all of us, really. And I think the campus has done a great job in addressing that. But This whole issue, the pandemic, and a number of other issues that have taken place at the same time that we'll briefly talk about today, have underscored our Emergency Operations Center, I believe, run and managed by Rob Littrell, who will have a chance to speak and to show a short video a little bit later. The Emergency Operations Center really jumped into full swing really before any of us knew there was a pandemic, because of the work Rob does throughout campus, and in this case with Global Ed and with sponsored programs, faculty and staff being overseas. We really had an upfront notice that something was coming, and we started to get concerned thanks to Rob's work. And he started sending communications about the pandemic and about the dangers we were facing really in January, if not before. So the Emergency Operations Center, which for those of you that haven't been there, and I know there's a couple that staff it with us routinely, like Barb Eagles, who I noticed is on this meeting, is located in Capitol Village, kind of just in front of the HR office. And that's really been the hub of activity for the campus during the pandemic and during a lot of other issues as well. But certainly during the pandemic, Rob's work at the EOC involves representatives from from the entire campus, actually, and sometimes from outside of the campus, to manage and, most importantly, support the functions and operations of the campus. So we gather information, we vet information, we share information, and that helps guide policies and the actual operations, such as moving to these hybrid kinds of educational delivery systems. And now the very exciting possibility of seeing that light at the end of the tunnel, where we may start to bring people back on campus a little more in the relatively near future. But much more goes on at the Emergency Operations Center and with DPS. For example, as all these issues that I've just very briefly touched upon were happening, much more was going on in the world, in the country, in Boise and at Boise State, such as sort of routine issues that we deal with every year, like game day. We still had to manage many, many different functions of game day, even though we didn't have fans. There are many security issues and operational issues that we support from the Emergency Operations Center. Many of you know, but some may not, that we actually had a polling station here on campus during the election. And you can imagine there were many security and operational issues that we had there. Unfortunately, we have great partners at Extra Mile Arena that really ran most of that operation, but we certainly supported and from the public safety standpoint had a role in that. Additionally, and I'm sure you know, we all have these concerns about ongoing security post the breach at the Capitol and inauguration, and as I said, ongoing concerns about those kinds of issues. And we have been front and center in collecting, vetting, and sharing information and operational guidance at the EOC during these times. So we have some slides up, but I'm not going to read them to you. I'm very confident all of you can read, so you can see that as and read that as I'm chatting, and then maybe that'll prompt some questions as we move toward the end of my little introduction and as we turn it over to the other DPS members here. I believe the pandemic has had a silver lining, and one of those silver linings is it's really jump-started us on understanding the importance of having an emergency operations plan for each and every one of our divisions, but also our offices, our departments, and individually. And that's what the Emergency Operation Center and most importantly, the Emergency Management wing of the Department of Public Safety can help you with. And you can check to see how yours looks and how it may have changed during the pandemic and the other kinds of issues that we've confronted so successfully as a university this past 13 months or so. It also underscores the importance of having a continuity of operations program, and we have a very, very skilled member in our emergency management group that reports to and is learning from Rob, Christoph Bahari, who is our campus, what we call COOP, again, continuity of operations program, which we're starting to employ now. And you will be pinged, if you haven't already, to be working on that formal kind of program to help guide the campus as we move forward, not only for this emergency, but for all emergencies, whether it's a weather event or whatever it might be moving forward. So the pandemic really has helped us get these very, very critical plans moving in a very forthright and good manner. So much more takes place at the EOC and with DPS, including these very rapidly unfolding events, such as protests and counter protests. We're the group that handles those and that plans for those. And we really lean heavily on our partners like those at FOAM to help us with very important aspects of handling these kinds of cases. As I mentioned before, Extra Mile Arena also plays a critical role with their security team as we're being confronted with these kinds of issues. Again, this ongoing kinds of concerns about safety generally. Now, here's the great news. There's no reason, given our partnerships and the information we're getting, to think there are any credible threats against the campus, nor have there been. Now, we've been aware of what's going on in the area, and we monitor that very, very closely, and we have very close and very functional relationships with our federal, state, and local law enforcement partners. Now, just taking a brief look at who's on the meeting today, I think most of you know this, but some don't. Perhaps that we actually have a contingent of the Boise Police Department assigned to the campus. There are roughly 12 of them, counting our dispatchers. So at any given time, there is at least one Boise police officer on campus working hand in hand with our senior security officers who are our uniform group, our uniform wing, and they are a highly trained and experienced group. Many of them, some of them anyway, at the moment being retired police officers from other states, and one actually from the Boise Police Department. So we're very fortunate with the staff that we have. So you may ask, how do we stay safe? How do we do it? It really is through this information sharing and this method we have and that we share with our local, state, and federal partners in vetting the information that we have. But we most assuredly rely on you to provide us with information. We really do focus on that old saying. Some think it's a little hackneyed and a little cliched, but it really works. And that's, if you see something, say something. And that goes for seeing something on social media, hearing a coworker talk about something you think might be concerning, whether it's mask wearing or whether it's a real threat to the campus. We need to have that information so we can further investigate and take action if it's necessary. And it's important to note our care team has been extraordinarily busy throughout the pandemic. And we haven't slowed down at all, really. We have many, many complex and difficult cases that we're dealing with. Some of you may know about some of them, but that's a hugely important catchment, a basin, a filter, so to speak, or a funnel where we collect information and support and help people that are struggling in and around the campus. If you're not familiar with CARE, I can't stress enough, please go to the CARE page on our campus website. If you have concerns, it takes literally 1 to 2 minutes to fill out a CARE report, and we take each and every report very, very seriously, and you will hear from us. So in addition to some of the staff and groups that I've mentioned already, we of course work very closely with the Dean of Students Office and with the Office of General Counsel, and those partnerships we feel are critical as well. But other groups or units, as we call them in DPS, also play a very, very important role in safety. Examples are our integrated security group that handles all access control, and you can imagine how busy they've been throughout this last year. Additionally, they handle our cameras that are around the campus, and we're adding more access control features and cameras as this year moves forward. Probably in the next 2 years, that project will continue. And we also get great assistance from other units like our shuttles, who are just critical in providing all kinds of services throughout this really challenging time. So I'll close by saying one of our mottos at DPS is to be proactive. We are out there ahead of what we think are concerns or issues for the campus. But again, we can only do that with the assistance and the input from you and your teams moving forward. So there's never a call that we don't appreciate, and we look forward to hearing from you in the future. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Rob and see if Rob wants to add a little bit to that. Thank you.
Rob, I don't know if we have you on audio yet. No. Nope, we don't have audio from Rob, but Rob is throwing a bunch of amazing links into chat. Until we get Rob connected to audio, Tana or John, do you want to carry this one?
Sure, I can just say that one of the features Rob is showing is Rave Guardian, and that is a free app. It takes just a second to download it on your phone. We have somewhere around 602 members of Rave right now, and it's just a wonderful mechanism or tech feature that increases safety. It does everything from alerting the public safety office and the Boise police if you're having trouble. And what we love, it has a safety timer, and it geolocates where you are on campus, and you can set that timer. And if you don't arrive at that prearranged destination and time, it sets off an alarm, and we will get a hold of you and make sure you're okay. We do have an anonymous tip feature that's part of Rave, and you can do that in other ways as well, which actually, I think I'll turn it over to Tana. You want to talk about Silent Witness a little bit, Tana?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Tana Monroe. I'm the Director of Security, Police, and Event Operations for Public Safety. We do have, let me see. I think go back to the last slide, please, Casey. So we have a couple ways that you can report to us. If you want immediate help, please call our 66911. It's a non-emergency line. And we do want you to call in and give us your tips there. If it's a life-threatening emergency or if an imminent situation, we need to make sure that you call 911, so that will get to police dispatch automatically. Our Rave Guardian is one way you can report, and then the silent witness form that John was talking about is just on our website. It's an anonymous form that you can fill out, and we get it. If you do fill it out and you're going to keep it anonymous, there is a place you can put your contact information. But if you do fill it out and leave it anonymous, please make sure you give us as much details as possible, because it's hard when we can't follow up with the person reporting. So we get those. We get a couple a week. So feel free to report there. And then lastly is the care report, and that, if you want to go forward 2 slides, sorry, Casey. Our care team is a team that meets once a week, and we get information about distressing, disturbing, disruptive, or dangerous behaviors. Thank you, Casey. And it's one way to report, even things that are just a little off or strange. But it's a multidisciplinary threat assessment team that's going to receive the emails and do some preliminary threat assessment actions. So also there too, if you're submitting a care alert, please make sure you're as detailed and behavior specific as possible. I don't know what's on the next slide after this.
I think we got Rob's audio working.
Oh, Rob.
Are you there?
Yes, it's my pod. Hey, Tana, before I do though, can you talk real quick about sexual assault reporting and crime reporting? I think everybody that's on this session kind of plays a role in reporting anything that they hear about those 2 areas.
Mm-hmm. I think there are people on campus that are designated as campus security officers by the Clery Act. And if you are one of those people, you get notified once a year and you have to take the training. And so you probably know, but if you don't know, there are mandatory reporters on campus, and most people are. And if you learn about a sexual assault, you can call our office. You can also call the Title IX office. That's another place to report that. And they'll ask you questions. We will ask you the same questions. So we kind of share information for stats to comply with both Clery and with Title IX. But if you do hear something like that, then yes, please do report it to us. And if you have questions about that or want to get in depth about Clery or Title IX, feel free to call me or send me an email. I'd be happy to really discuss it with you more.
Okay, and it looks
and I'll pick it up, Casey.
Yeah, which slide do you want? And you're
this is fine. This is fine right here. So I mean, both John and Tana have talked about how to report, and just one thing to emphasize: that's 24/7. So on the blue light phones, one thing to talk about that, and we're telling you guys this information. This is mostly staff or employees that are on. But we would like you to share this information with students too. A lot of them don't know this information. A lot of them are on campus now, but at night, you can pick safe walking paths, walking from a blue light phone to blue light phone. The black button dials our 24/7 communication center. We know where the location of all these phones are. So we'll send an officer, even if we don't hear anything, we're gonna send either a Boise police officer or campus security officer over to check it out. And then, anybody can call for a security escort anytime. We also do lockouts, jump starts, things like that. And on the Rave Guardian, one thing that we've added to it this year is emergency response guide. And the emergency response guide is specific to the campus. So if you want to see what to do during a gas leak or power outage, it's got evacuation, but all those checklists are in that now. And it also has a directory. That's a new thing too. So if you don't know what the number for environmental health safety is and you're dealing with a hazardous material spill, you can use that directory. So the Rave Guardian is getting to be more useful, along with the 3 safety tips that we bought it for, where you can do the tips and you can set a safety timer, and call direct. The button that says call public safety goes directly to our 24/7 communication center. So all those things, you've got it right on your phone. It's like having a blue light emergency phone on campus. Okay, and then I think that's about all we have, right, Tana and John? We would like to have some questions from the campus community. John, you want to summarize this?
No, I think I'd just like to leave time for people to either ask questions or tell us what your concerns might be.
And remember, this is your time, guys. Did I stop my share? I thought I did. I'm gonna make sure I did.
Good.
Okay, good. So just let us know if you have any questions. We'll hang out and do the most painful thing in the world, Zoom pause.
Well, as questions might be being formed, I can say we do enjoy, even let's say when we're in a non-pandemic state, a remarkably safe campus. There's little to none most of the time, any kind of stranger crime whatsoever. And we just have very, very low crime statistics on the campus. And that frankly is reflected in the community at large too. It's very, very low on stranger crime. Most of the crimes take place with, in households and with people that the survivors or victims are familiar with. So that of course is a struggle and is something we're always trying to work on, but we do enjoy a very safe campus. And again, we think that's largely due to the support and our ability to be proactive and finding out what issues are and addressing them very, very quickly, or even before they arise. An example might be if we hear about a protest, we try to reach out to the protest organizers to help them plan and to make sure it's a safe event for them and for the rest of the campus.
So we did have a question about the Boise Police Department and their contract with the campus. Is that ending? And if so, what does that mean for having their presence still on campus?
Yeah, there's been an extraordinarily large amount of confusion about that. Much of it due to some articles that appeared either in local papers or online or other sources. We do have a contract with the Boise Police, and we've been in that contract for a long time. And it just so happens that the contract time period is ending, so we're re-examining the contract and how we move forward. But it's not as if our relationship with the police or with the Boise Police is ending. We're just going to have to go back through our process of that contractual process, and it's typically a 3 to 5 year, depending how you look at it, contract. That's really all that is.
Okay, thanks. Did that help understand? Because I got 2 private chats on that, and then Robin. Yep, excellent. Wanted to make sure that we had clarity on that. Excellent. Any other, oh my gosh, doing this really fun multitasking, working, momming, schooling. Some days I feel way more efficient than others. Today, not so much. Yep. Any other questions, guys? Okay, so what steps should we follow if we come across students or people not wearing masks? Ooh, that's a good one, because that is more likely to happen than, I mean, just driving by campus. Sometimes I'm like, do y'all not realize that there's a worldwide pandemic going on?
Tana, you want to take that one?
Yeah, our staff is going, you can call our staff if we have, if you see people not following the mask mandate. We have been responding to them, and if they're students, we refer them to the Dean of Students office, and then faculty and staff. John, you can correct me, we let the HR know.
Yes, that certainly is an option for us, and thanks, Tana. And you know, it came up in a meeting the other day. This is another area that kind of evolved, and it can be very confusing. But the short answer, the short answer to the policy part of this is that if you're anywhere on campus and you have really any reasonable likelihood of coming in contact with someone else, a mask is absolutely necessary. The exceptions to that might be if one of Barb's team is on a lawnmower and in the middle of a field and there's no one around them, they don't have to wear a mask. If someone's in a vehicle and they're alone, they don't have to wear a mask while they're in that vehicle. But if you're walking through the quad, walking through the building, walking anywhere else on campus, or stationary anywhere else on campus, a mask, and an approved mask, a real mask. I saw one the other day that had a hose coming out of it. That's not a mask. But a real mask is absolutely part of our policy, and not following that, whether you're a student, faculty, staff, or a visitor, is not acceptable. We even have contracted with a private security group, MAV, that many of you are probably familiar with, to help us patrol and enforce mask compliance and social distancing compliance, for that matter, on campus, and that is continuing.
Thanks for that. And it looks like Rob's got some stuff in chat that's reassuring that most people are complying with the mask mandate, and all the students are, like people want to be on campus. So if you want to be out and about, you wear your mask. And it makes me feel good because I haven't been on campus really since March of last year, to hear that those that are on campus are doing good with that. All of you that are on campus are like, come to campus. Like, I would have to bring my entourage with me. That's why it's easier to be at home. Quiet Tuesday. Maybe it's just because this subject, we feel like we're in. I know, as far as my personal feelings, is that our safety teams, and I've gotten to work with Rob and Tana and John just a little bit. So I've never felt unsafe on campus. That's just always been like one of the things where it's like, oh, I don't have to worry about it because we have some of the best safety teams ever. And so if it's a quiet crowd with not a lot of questions, I would say it's due to the hard work of your guys' departments, because you guys do a great job of communicating and you do a great job of keeping us safe. And I personally just want to say thank you.
Well, thank you, Casey. That's great to hear.
And John, I did get a question. Somebody's asking how do you get students building access on their cards?
Yeah, so it can be a complicated answer, but I think the best answer for that in a group setting like this is to call email the access control. So access control at boisestate.edu. Rowdy Stinnett will walk anyone through what it requires. Now, there are times a building manager can do that for you because they have access to some of those groups, but typically access control will help out with that. So Rowdy Stinnett is the person to look for.
And then Christine threw that in chat. Thanks, Christine. Access control at boisestate.edu. I'll make sure that makes it into the recap email.
Thanks, Christine. One other thing I would just say about DPS, we've had a number of our team kind of do double duty. They're doing their jobs and their positions while they're also working for the public health office, doing everything from very detailed support work that's really requires quite a lot of skill and training, to contact tracing and some other functions there as well. So a particular thank you to those team members who have really stepped up to help fight this pandemic.
Okay. You guys are great. Like, don't even know what else to say. It's also easier for me because I'm from home. But as far as I guess the question was at one point in time, if you see something online and you're worried about it, can you again remind me which email we should send that to with a URL to the page, just so I can have that as a call out?
Tana?
Yeah, I think you could send it to public safety at boisestate.edu, or if it's immediate threat, or if you want to submit it through the care team, that's also another way to do it. I would go either of those routes. Public safety at boisestate.edu will be to our dispatch. And if it's an immediate thing, again, just call us, and stay on the page, take screenshots if you can. Remember the URL and how you got there would be great. But really make sure that you're not logging off, that you take a screenshot so we can see what you see. Either call us or send it as an email.
Can you throw the phone number in chat real quick?
Yeah.
Excellent. Just want to make sure that our recap is good, because I don't know about you guys, but I was super excited when I checked the invite, and we have 177 people signed up to join us every week. And I understand that that means that not everybody is going to join us, but that means that 177 people get the video recap and get my notes. So we are staying very informed, which also makes me realize that this is going to be a fun guinea pig group when I come next week with some polling questions for you guys, as we try to make sure that we communicate with you guys as best we can and in your preferred ways. I'm so glad that you like the recaps. I did some really fun stuff last week. I hope that that was appreciated by all. I needed to like stretch my creative legs, so I was like, I'm gonna make it pretty this week.
Hey Casey, one thing I hate to kind of end on a note that's kind of in the weeds, but we sometimes get this question. If one is on campus and encounters an emergency, we still recommend dialing 911 for an emergency, and then dialing that number 426-6911, and that way that marshals all the appropriate resources to the scene. So 911 in an emergency, and then the 426-6911, the campus number, which will send our campus resources. If it's a non-emergency, then just use that 426-6911.
Yeah, no, that's always a good thing to remember. Remember being on campus once and seeing like a car went through the crosswalk and hit a poor girl on a bike. And I remember having to call 911 and being like, this is not one of those non-emergencies. We're just going to get everybody there.
Right.
I'm hoping because campus is a little less densified, that isn't happening anymore. But one last thing, if there are any questions for these crew, I wanted to give some updates for the coming Fireside chats, and then I'll stay on the line for any questions. Next week, we've got Jerry Mizrahi coming to talk about our offering within HR. It's called Career Services. We'll be outlining that. And then on the 23rd, she'll be back with Paige from events. No, she's president's office. And we'll be talking about employee social networks and how you can get further involved. I don't have a topic as of March 2nd just yet. So if you have something you would like to bring to this group, please contact me. If not, I'll be filling it with something worth your time and definitely timely. And then I'm excited to have Mark Heil back on March 9th to talk to us about CEC and our budgeting. So those will be updated in the when I do my recap email. I'll have signups for those, and please join us on those days to talk about those topics. With the remainder of this hour, I'll hang out on the call. If you want to stay, you've got HR professionals to ask questions, any of the HR updates that I rambled through, or we have our public safety folks for any other lingering questions. And Barb's got a comment in there. I remind my folks, if you would call 911 at home, call 911 here. Yes. Sometimes it's the simplest logic. Okay. Thanks everybody for being here on a Tuesday.